welcome back. This is part 3 of The Whole Musician, integrating the mind and heart into a healthy body. So we're going to talk about what does this healthy body look like. So this is going to be more about some of the physical practices that you can turn to help with this segment, but just talking about general physical health. Okay, so taking care of your body may seem obvious. I know for so many of us, it's exercise and like self-care kind of falls in this category of like, oh, I know I should be better about this, but I'm just so busy or life is so crazy. So this is me encouraging you to just set up the habits now, really at any age. I know I'm speaking to all different like age groups here, but especially if you're young or you're in college, I think it can be just so easy to get wrapped up in, practicing as much as possible or trying to, get the most out of your education by studying and working incredibly hard, which is so important. And I encourage you to do that. I'm not saying blow off your classes or blow off your practicing. Of course, I'm not saying that, but I am also saying that you have to learn to listen to your body. When I was younger, when I was in college, I tended to practice in a way that I didn't take enough breaks. I was gripping the instrument too tightly. I had a lot of tension. I had poor posture. And those things have really followed me into my career. And I think when we're young, it's just easy to let it get away from us because we recover so much more quickly. And that's not, of course, when you are young, you don't realize the comparison because you're young. I can see now that I'm older that you do not bounce back as quickly at all. And sometimes those injuries or that kind of abuse we can put on our body is cumulative over time. So what I may be experiencing now, it's quite possible that some of my bad habits in college and graduate school really contributed to the things I struggle with now. So part of this is me coming from a place of experience and encouraging you not to do the things that I did, because there's a lot of it that I regret. And I regret the times in my life that I let exercise go by the wayside, that I sort of had a mental position of, I think I just didn't believe that I could improve my posture, which was very damaging. And I'm here to tell you that you can improve your posture. It is absolutely possible. You just need to find the practice that works for you and find the people that can really help you do that. It's not everyone that can help you change your posture, and not every technique works for every person. So it may take some trial and error. It may take something of a financial investment, but I promise you, if you don't pay for it now, you probably will end up paying for it later. So our physical health just seems to be that way. The more preventative care we can do and the more we can sort of stay on top of that, then the more, not just money that we save ourselves down the road, but potentially, like loss of work. Like a lot of people have to take significant amounts of time off from a job, or, their quality of life just goes down if your body's not working for you the way that it should. So I'm just here to encourage you now that you can do it, and that now's the time, whatever age you are, is to start looking for that thing. Okay, so basics, learn to listen to your body. That's pretty obvious too, but I think a lot of times we just choose to ignore the symptoms of pain, or, it could be shooting pain, it could be numbness, it could be irritation, there's signs, what they are. You should listen to them and start to pay attention. That's your body telling you something. Sleep and diet, same thing. I think when we're younger, we sort of think, it's easy to think of sleep as being a waste of time. We all know we need to sleep. We would not function if we didn't sleep. But there's so much research that's coming out now that really points to increased productivity overall for people who adhere to a really great sleep schedule and sleep routine. Diet, I won't go into all my personal long-winded experiences with diet, but I've been amazed in the last, I would say, like 5 to 10 years of experimenting with my diet, cutting certain foods out, trying to be just, again, much more aware of what I put into my body and how that's changed the way I feel, not just physically, but mentally, and my recovery process with the instrument. So if you think something's not sitting with you right in your diet, that could be a great thing to experiment with too. Like go to one of the sort of typical protocols for eliminating certain categories of foods, and see if you can find the thing that's giving you trouble. And I probably should say consult your doctor before you do any of these things. I'm not an expert in either any kind of like physical routine or dietary, issues. So yes, consult your doctor. But there's a lot that can be gained from going down this pathway with your physical health. And then the last thing of the basics, I think I covered this a little bit, but just thoughtful practicing and scheduling rest. So practicing for, an hour with no breaks, obviously that's not a good idea. You can, I've had great experience using a timer, and we all have cell phones now. So set the timer on your cell phone, make sure that you stop, and at the very least, put the instrument down, stand up gently, shake out your hands, walk down the hall, go get a glass of water, something. But start finding ways to mindfully and purposefully include rests that are appropriate for you in your practice session. Very important. Okay, next thing I'll briefly cover is, I put it down here, is strength and length. So this is just really about finding a physical practice that suits you. But I think from just experiential data of people that I know and looking at myself, finding something that you like to do is really important. So it's not just about, musicians should do yoga or musicians should do Pilates. I think those things are great, and I do both of those things myself. But if you hate them, you're probably not going to do it. So find some sort of physical activity that you like, that appeals to you, that is rewarding in its own way, and then you're going to be so much more likely to stick with it. But I do think that the ones that include gaining strength in a balanced way, so not just, for example, like the front part of your body, but you need to strengthen your back and your shoulders and the whole posterior chain. And that's often lacking because we sit so much at computers. We do this thing with the cell phone where we're hunched over, and you guys know I'm a clarinetist, so similar issues to maybe what some of you have in terms of the shoulders and the sort of misalignment that can start to happen up here. I'm probably even seeing it for me, just feeling not 100% comfortable on camera. My shoulder's probably going up anytime I seem to get nervous or stressed out. It seems to happen. So having a practice that will build that strength in the areas where we're often lacking is incredibly helpful. And then the lengthening too, sort of the gentle, thoughtful stretching patterns will also help a great deal. So it could be, like I said, yoga or Pilates, Feldenkrais, Alexander Technique. That's just to name a few of the things that you could try. A lot of schools have Alexander Technique as part of the curriculum, a class you can take. So that would be an easy way to check it out and see if that's something that helps you. The other ones you might have to seek out outside of a music school, but they're great. But yeah, find the one or the thing that works for you, that you enjoy. Very important. Okay, so accessories. I'm going to be a little bit out of my element here with oboists, but you know what I'm talking about. If you think a neck strap could help you and you don't have one, that could be something to try. I know there are like fancy gadgets that I don't know the names of them. Things that look like sticks that, I don't know. You guys know more than I do. So consider those things if you are having trouble with, specifically, the right hand or the weight of the instrument. That's just so common to have pain. I have pain and issues in my right wrist and hand often. So I just encourage you to seek those things out. Your chair choice can be really important. If you're sitting in a terrible chair, that's not going to help you with your posture. So even at home, a lot of you are like stuck at home because of the pandemic. Or maybe you'll end up practicing in a dorm room coming up in the fall, which could be tricky, because I don't know how people are going to practice in practice rooms safely, but obviously that's not my problem to solve. But if you're in a dorm room, your chair is going to be important. Don't practice sitting on your bed, obviously. Find some way to have a chair in there that's going to support you and not make things harder for you. Okay, so I just want to quickly just go over kind of pulling all these things together, wrapping up this talk. Integrating all these ideas, it's a lifetime endeavor. So first of all, give yourself some room and time to grow and give yourself some grace here. I know it sounds like I might be just giving you more things to do, but one thing I want you to think about is this concept of addition by subtraction. So what are the things in your life that you could actually sort of get rid of or take out or gradually take out that could leave you more time to take care of yourself a little bit better, or to integrate some of these ideas, practices into your own routine. This is a time where the news is very depressing and potentially very toxic. So if you feel like you're addicted to the news, maybe kind of cutting back on getting sucked into the bad news. I struggle with that. It's hard, especially when we know all this stuff is going on out there in the world, but sometimes we just need a break from it. So maybe cutting down on your consumption of social media if you always feel down or depressed after you go on Facebook or something like that. So that would be in the subtraction category. Toxic people, negative people. If you find that for whatever reason you're around people that are just complaining all the time, or maybe they cut you down because it helps them to feel better about themselves, is there a way you can limit your exposure to toxic or negative people? That's going to be totally an example of addition by subtraction. And if you find that you're the person who's complaining about, maybe think about why, how is that a habit that you got into of complaining? I've been there. And then sometimes I don't recognize myself. Why am I complaining about everything? And something that's helped me with that is to really just start a gratitude practice. So every day, think of, write down 5 things that you're incredibly grateful for in your life. And you'll see it'll start to change the way you think, and you'll become a more positive person. Those negative thoughts and the complaining thoughts won't be so consuming if that's something that you struggle with. So that's an idea that I have for you. Looking at your habits, we all have some bad habits. For me, I like to hit the snooze button. That's one of the bad habits that I have. And that really does cut into my productivity and my schedule and my routine. So there's some great books out there on improving your habits or getting rid of bad habits. And if that's something you struggle with, there's one you just really want to kick. Maybe looking for some of those books again in the discussion, the Q&A. We can talk about some that I found particularly helpful if that's a road you want to go down. Improving your scheduling and organization. So I think just about everybody can stand to improve in this area. I've found the quarantine time to be really difficult this way, sticking to a routine. Sort of the evaporation of deadlines can sometimes just leave us kind of in free fall, or just feeling the lack of structure can be really tough. For me it is. And so I still keep a schedule, and I still, I've got kids, so keeping them on a schedule has been really important, or as much as we can, sort of letting them know what to expect, and some just certain things happening at the same time every day. And I think everybody does a little better when we have a schedule. So whatever you can do to keep yourself in some kind of routine or schedule, if it's accountability, if you need a friend to call you at the same time every day or something like that, or a parent or whomever, maybe that would be something that could help here. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. It's helped me to think about all these things, and just like I said, in this quarantine time, to know that for me, exercise has been so important, getting that in at least 5 days a week. And it's helped me so much. So just getting to know the things that help you take care of yourself, help you learn to start to integrate these things together. I'd love for you guys to show up for the Q&A. We decided that maybe it would be best to do this after this Obo intensive week, since you guys have so much going on. And I thought personally that this could be a great one to have when students are have been back in school for maybe a couple weeks, because I think some of these issues maybe are going to be particularly pertinent, or maybe there's going to be some things that will sort of flare up at that point. So maybe talking about it then will be extra helpful. So I picked Saturday, August 29th at 2 p.m. We'll set up a Zoom. And if you guys want to send questions ahead of time, if that's more comfortable for you, that's perfectly fine. Or we can just kind of cover them as we go in the discussion, but I'd love to hear from you, just see like, both struggles and triumphs. I've, learned from my students all the time, so I'm sure you guys have some ideas even for me that would be helpful. But like I said, I've got resources that I can share with you then. Also, I'm working on a drawing again for you guys. As of now, it's not done yet, but hopefully by the time you watch this, it will be done, and there'll be some information that you guys can get about like where to see it and potentially order a print if you want to. You can always send me a message on my Instagram. It's Kathleen B. Costello, and I also have a website now. Same thing, KathleenBCostello.com. And I have a blog that I write on there. So if you guys ever want to get in touch with me or communicate with me, that's a great way to do it. I'd love to hear from you. Even outside of this Q&A, if you just want to reach out like with questions or whatever, I'm more than happy to connect with any of you. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great week. I'm sure you're having an awesome week, and yeah, I can't wait to see you on the Q&A.